they have 5 minutes on the clock, and they take 3 deep shots to the end zone, all uncatchable balls into double coverage. I thought that was pathetic. And then when they have a chance to win the football game, a screen pass to Josh Jacobs chews 30 seconds off of their minute and a half that they have on the clock. What the hell are we doing? Why aren't we anybody having tempo here trying to get up to the line to go? And why are we throwing a screen pass for 2 yards? In my opinion, that's a fireable offense. The way the season ended wasn't very good. And then that happens in the playoffs.
This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. Welcome back to the Warner Brothers podcast. This is part 2. If you just are checking back in for part 1, where we talked about coaching carousel, we talked about Mike Tomlin leaving the Steelers, what his future might be. And now we're going to talk about, we should have been talking about all along, but hey, we get sidetracked. We talk about whatever on here. Get into the meat and potatoes. Playoff football. Wildcard weekend. I want quickly our thoughts before we get to the world famous, the world renowned. I hear people are playing this game all around the world now, all around the nation. Shot, sip, or piss, the playoff edition.
We're on a world tour with my man.
Make its dramatic return. A dramatic return. Cannot wait to play that. But first, let's go in order. We'll start with Rams Panthers. Tim, we'll start with you. We'll try to keep this quick too. We'll quickly review before we get into shot, sip, or piss. And
your main thought from each game.
Your main takeaway. Whichever. Start with you, Tim. Rams Panthers.
Respect to the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Everybody counted them out, and there was never a point in that game where they were ever out of it. They were always within one score. And I think on the Rams side, it didn't expose them, but it kind of brought to light a problem with the Rams defense over the last month and a half has not been playing good enough football for me to pick them as a Super Bowl team, I think. So those are the 2 takeaways I got from that game. Was Panthers played their asses off. You know, every turn it just felt like they knew they were one step ahead almost. And it just great game. Really, really good start to the weekend.
Yes. For me, the Panthers justified being in the playoffs because this could have been a lot of people thought this was going to be a rout. We all did.
The Bucs would not have done that. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So Panthers justified that. And I think I'm starting to believe more and more in Bryce Young. That's my Panther side. That's my Panther side of it. And on the Rams side of it, yes, that defense is a problem right now. They have the personnel to get it better, but that is a problem right now that they're gonna need to get fixed because they can get clipped by the Bears if they are going to play that bad defensively. So that's something that if they're gonna lose by 3 to the Panthers, we all would say the Bears are a little better than the Panthers. You can get clipped by the Bears. You got to fix that. But Stafford is as good as advertised, as we all knew. Even though he played bad, but that last drive was special.
Yeah, mainly with the Panthers, I'm upset at myself for picking this a double-digit win for the Rams, for maybe not betting the Panthers at plus 10.5, because all year, even if I haven't been in love with the Panthers, the compliments I've given them is, hey, they're well-coached, they play well at home, they can run the ball, and they're tough, which all bodes well for the playoffs. You need all 4 of those things. Like, they're smart, and as sketchy as Bryce Young will look, I mean, we've seen games where he literally throws for 100 yards. There's stretches this season where he's like 125 was his like ceiling for multiple games in a row. And yet you would see him get in chaotic situations. You would see him at the end of games, and you would see very clearly that not only his coach, but most importantly, his teammates had confidence in him. And he didn't have that deer in the headlights look that he had his first 2 seasons that we saw really up until the car accident last year from Andy Dalton. That got him his starting job back. He's looked competent since then. And, Keen, I got to tell you, he reminds me just slightly of a young Tom Brady, with the fact that maybe he doesn't have all the physical attributes. He doesn't have the stats. But, man, he does. When it's 2 minutes left in the game and he's got the ball, he looks confident. He's got this calmness to him. He's got this peace to him, and his teammates and his coaches all seem to have that in him as well. So I don't know if I'd pick them to repeat as divisional winners. Obviously, we have no idea what these teams will look like right now. But man, why wouldn't they be a problem going forward after what they showed this year? They had legit wins in the regular season, and gave the Rams, who a lot of people picked to win the Super Bowl, gave them more than a run for their money. Moving on, Packers Bears. Keen, we'll start with you this time. What were your thoughts from that game?
If Caleb can put together 4 quarters, that's a top 5 quarterback. That's what you take away from it. You just
can you
can't.
Real quick, before you go on, you mentioned Ryan Clark. I think in between breaks right here, your boy Ryan Clark, he did say Caleb's top 5. So I just want to get that in before you go.
That's too crazy.
That's
crazy. Again, he needs to play 4 quarters for him to be a top 5 quarterback. He's not the best quarterback in his draft class. You could argue he's not the second best quarterback in his draft class. I understand Jaden Daniels was injured this year, but last year at this time, Jaden was by far the best quarterback in his draft class. So don't want to forget about Jaden just because he played on an injured team and a roster that wasn't as good as was last year. So, but anyways, that was my takeaway there. And then on the Packers side, you can't lose that game. You just can't lose that game. You're up 21-3. You just can't lose that game. Like, I don't care what you have to do. If you have to go to the other sideline and start a brawl, you just can't lose the game. Like, you can't lose to the Bears up that at halftime. But overall, when Caleb plays that, when Caleb gets to late game, he is unafraid. He is unscared. He threw one of the best balls I've seen all year, that rolling out left on 4th down. And that's why they're live against the Rams, because there's no lead that feels safe right now with this Bears team.
Timmy.
I would fire Matt LaFleur just for that game specifically. I was on that train immediately after the game. That 4th quarter was horrendously coached offensively, and the defense was on the field like the entire second half. 3rd quarter, their offense did nothing. So I can understand the defense being tired at that point in the game. But that last drive they had, man, just really ticked me off. Not only like I expect better coaching, like the team not to get a delay of game penalty when you're in field goal range. Like, taking a 5-yard penalty there is like, he probably would have made the kick if they didn't have a 5-yard penalty. Like, it would have lined up to making it. And then
I believe that was coming out of a timeout too.
Yeah, so they had time to not only get up there.
McManus shouldn't have even been on the field anyway kicking. It should have been somebody else. He has been pedestrian at best all season long.
He's been an issue for them, and he definitely won't be there next year. But they have 5 minutes on the clock, and they take 3 deep shots to the end zone, all uncatchable balls into double coverage. I thought that was pathetic. And then when they have a chance to win the football game, a screen pass to Josh Jacobs chews 30 seconds off of their minute and a half that they have on the clock. What the hell are we doing? Why aren't we anybody having tempo here, trying to get up to the line to go? And why are we throwing a screen pass for 2 yards? That should have been in the dirt, stop the clock right there, and it would have completely changed the game. So I think they just completely crumbled. And in my opinion, that's a fireable offense. The way the season ended wasn't very good. And then that happens in the playoffs.
I agree. I mean, they got there early with Rodgers. They got to the divisional round. They lost 13-10 to the 49ers. They got to the championship game. They lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They might have done that backwards anyways. Then they missed the playoffs because the Lions game where they lose. They leave Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love comes in. They beat the Cowboys in the playoff game. Then they play Jordan Love plays horrendous against the 49ers and lose. Last year, you get to a situation where you're the 7th seed again. They get boat raced by somebody. I can't even remember who it was at this moment in time. I cannot remember who they got beat by last year. And then
they lost to Philly in the first round, or the Rams.
Yeah, it was Philly. I think it was Philly. It wasn't in the first round.
That bad of a loss.
It wasn't actually. No, it wasn't actually that bad. But they lost to Philly. It was a pretty convincing Philly win, but if I remember correctly now. And then obviously they have last game. So I get it. It's just one of those situations where you just can't lose. Again, you just can't lose that game. You just can't. You just can't do it.
First, let me give props to the Bears defense because I thought they did a great job in the second half, shutting the passing game of the Packers down. Before I get to the negativity, I've never seen a playoff game, at least in recent memory. I'm sure there has been, but never seen a playoff game, or I can't remember a playoff game where I thought both teams wanted to actively lose the game. Packers didn't look like they wanted to win, and the Bears, we talked about Matt LaFleur, and I'll get to Matt LaFleur in a sec, but Ben Johnson, that was probably in the first half one of the worst head coaching debuts in the playoffs I've ever seen. And it went back to my whole thing about like coordinators versus head coaches. Like, is he better off as a coordinator? Because, man, he's going for it on fourth down where he doesn't really need to go for it on fourth down. Like, it was 3 or 4 fourth downs that they got stopped on in the first half that were just giving the game to Green Bay. Then the second half, again, Bears defense comes out, shuts them down a little bit. Bears take advantage of it, but there was just some awful coaching mistakes from Matt LaFleur down the stretch. To the point, Keenan, like when you go through them, like you just said, that Niners game that they won in Green Bay, you had a West Coast warm weather team coming to Green Bay. They won that game essentially on defense and special teams.
On a blocked punt, 13-10. They didn't score a touchdown all game, and they won. Offensive touchdown all game, and they won.
And, Rodgers obviously deserves blame, but when you stack that on top of the Tampa Bay game that he lost against Tom Brady, and you stack that against this loss,
that was the decision. That was the decision not to go for it on fourth down, kick the field goal, and then Brady, all he needed was a first down, and then they're getting a pass interference on third down. But
yeah, I mean,
you got to go for that's Tom Brady on this. So you just go for it. Like, I'm sorry, but you just have to go for it. Like, those are the decisions where you're like, Rodgers wanted to, like, he just said, no, I'm going to take the points. Take the points against Tom? You kidding me? Tom.
He's got a lot of questionable decisions, questionable losses and big moments in a banner city, in a blue blood city of Green Bay blue blood franchise more than city in the NFL with Green Bay. Like, I think it's crazy because they're talking extension, but you would think this would be a hot seat season for him. You would think that you just let him play his contract out, and if you can get maybe a promising divisional round, or if you can get to the championship game, then cool, bring him back. Because he obviously is a really good head coach. We talk about average.
Try not to be the 7th seed.
Yeah.
Can you be even the 6th seed? Like, can you do anything but be the 7th seed? Like, every year, like, if they didn't have this extra, like, 7th seed, he would have missed the playoffs 3 straight years. Because he's the 7th seed every year.
And to be fair to him, pre-Jordan Love, they did have those home playoff games. They did have even 1 seed.
Yes.
And Jordan Love's a big question mark to this too, because we know he's pretty good. How good is he? We really don't know 3 years into him being a starter. So I don't know. Matt LaFleur is super interesting to me because I don't think he's a bad head coach at all. I don't even know if the choker label's fair, but it is fair to just question him in big games in general. So yeah, it's something I'm going to look for. I thought for sure that maybe he would be fired, but they are talking extension. He will be back. What does this look like going forward? Obviously, we got to be fair to him. Mike Parsons missed the end of the season. He goes out with a torn ACL.
Yes.
But you still got to win that game.
There's definitely some injuries, and if they would have lost the game 28-24 to the Bears and they played well all game, then that's fine. Like, we understand that. But the way that game went, you've got to win that game.
That was a draw.
Last thing I want to quickly say, because I know we are obviously going to go through all these games quickly to get to the other ones, is just I'm not sure Matt LaFleur knows how good Jordan Love is. The way he calls plays for LaFleur or for your Love, it just feels like there's still some handcuffs on him, and I don't get why. Like, it just at some point you gotta kind of take the handcuffs off. Like,
there's any handcuffs, honestly. Like, it seems like he lets Love do a lot. It seems like there's no rhythm to the offense. It seems like for all that talent, they don't really know whether they want to run the ball or throw the ball. Why do you think there's handcuffs? Expand on that.
I just the way they call games, sometimes it just feels like when it's late, when it gets to like mid third quarter and they're up 21-3, it just seems like they're always playing not to lose rather than to win. And I think it's just like they're afraid that Jordan Love's going to turn the ball over once. I guess that's just kind of where I'm like, he is not like sure. Because like when you're in a situation like Brock Purdy I'm using that because he's kind of on the same level as Jordan Love, like around there at least. You can say Brock's better, fine. But Kyle Shanahan, even for a Mr. Irrelevant, I'm fine with Brock going out there. And, like, obviously you're going to have pace. You're going to get the ball to McCaffrey, Brian Robinson even out there. But, like, you're going to throw your screens. But even still, he's like, yeah, no, I'm fine with Brock going out there and chucking it 35, 40 times. It just seems like there's a little bit of, I guess, like, if it's 180 degrees is your full, it seems like they're at 150. Like, that last 30 degrees, it just seems like he doesn't want to fully press it.
That's interesting because I
Just
thought
from
they
what
gave
I've
him
seen.
too much rain. On their last drive before the Bears got it back, they were throwing when they could have ran out the clock. They're throwing the ball and actually helped the Bears. So I actually think he gives Jordan Love too much rain, and there's just not enough.
Maybe it's more to your point where it's no rhythm, because at that point you may run, but there are some times where they'll just hand off, and then it's a deep shot on third down, and it's like, it feels like we could have called a better play. It feels like we could have gotten into something better. So it might be more of the rhythm thing than a handcuff thing.
And before we go on,
Interesting.
The crazy part about this is that Sunday to Thursday stretch after they get Micah and they beat the Lions in week 1 and then they kill the Commanders, there was all kinds of rhythm to their offense. It's exactly what you pictured their offense to look like in a perfect world. And then it seems like after that game, we never saw it. They had that extended 10 days off, and then it was just like, they're kind of like the NBA team that has a ton of talent and they just don't really know what to do with it. They're not in a proper offense. They kind of just use their talent to get wins. Let's move on, though.
Yep.
Bills, Jaguars. To me, this was the game of the weekend. We do not have our fourth man that we'd have here to talk to him about Jaguars, Bills. He actually even hit the group chat and said, hey, guys, not going to be pod this week after that game. Said, I'll see you guys the week after. Shouts to Brandon Petty.
Shout out to Brandon.
Bills, Jags, I absolutely loved this game. I thought it was going to be the game of the weekend, and it lived up. What were your guys' thoughts on it? We'll start with you, Tim.
Tim, you go first.
It was definitely a pretty good game. I think it was closer to being like Jacksonville had the opportunity to really go up because they go for it on fourth down, up 7-3 in the red zone. I believe on like the 8-yard line. If they get that, and they were pretty close to getting it, I think it's a completely different game because now they're down. They're probably scored. They were rolling, so they probably scored a touchdown. Down 14-3, like that could have changed the entire momentum. The Buffalo Bills, like, I don't think that they can be an underdog in the playoffs against anybody. I think they realistically should be favored against every team. They opened up as a favorite against Denver. I believe they're no longer. I think they're an underdog.
1.5 point underdog.
Yeah, so I thought it was a great game, but Jacksonville should definitely be like, I know Brandon immediately said he doesn't want Jacoby on the team next year. He's good. Like that's one play. Their season doesn't hinge on one play. So I didn't get to watch this whole game. I actually missed like the whole first quarter of this game. But the rest of it was good. The 10-yard tush push was hilarious to see. Yeah.
I think that at the end of the game, I don't know, and I said this instantaneously because I don't know why they didn't. I would have taken like a little QB sneak and not gotten in the end zone on the first play.
I thought
got
about
it down
that.
to 20 seconds, and then taking you have 3 timeouts, and if you can't get in from 1 yard on 3 chances with Josh Allen, you don't deserve to win the game. Sorry, like like if you can't get 1 yard with that physical phenom, you don't deserve to win the game. I would have done that because, and maybe they do it if it's Mahomes, but like, and maybe they're not as afraid of Trevor Lawrence, but like, even still, giving Lawrence that when you have a kicker with that kind of leg, like the 50-yard line, you're in field goal range at least, like to at least try. So that was there. My takeaways from this, from each team, real quick, just give one for each, was Jag should be happy with this season. They're building something there. I understand that they lost. Trevor needs to make sure he continues to take steps in the right direction because obviously there are still things that he can progress on, but towards the back half of the season, he was on a heater and looked like one of the better quarterbacks in the league. So he can continue to do that. He'll be able to grow into the guy that we thought he could be coming out of Clemson. And then the Buffalo Bills, hopefully the more and more the injuries pile up, it doesn't come back to bite Josh. Because like at this point, like Josh, we know what he's going to be in the playoffs. Like he's as consistent of a playoff performer as we've seen. Like obviously the resume doesn't have the Super Bowls and things like that on it, but 3 touchdown games, 0 turnovers. He has 6. Mahomes has 6. Brady has 8. That's the list of who's better than him. So it's really just Brady. So he's as consistent as you're going to get as a playoff performer. It's just, can his team hold up? And that's what it's going to be. I really love the matchup this weekend. You get a rested Denver team with a really good coach and a really good defense. If Josh goes and wins a Super Bowl this year, this might be one of the most impressive runs, being from a tough Jags team to a tough Broncos team to either on the road at a division rival Patriot or even Houston, and then beating an incredibly tough Seahawks team or an incredibly tough Rams team or one of theirs or 49ers if they do get there. I don't think so, but whatever. It's a great run. So Josh has a chance to do something legendary and cement himself as inarguably the best quarterback in the league if he's not already.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I loved every second of this game. Jacksonville, like Keem, you said, like Buffalo's run defense, that's their weakness.
Mhm.
Jaguars were running all over them, and seemed like they were
should have ran E10 more.
Exactly. It seemed like they were keen on letting Trevor throw the ball when they had a secret sauce right there. They had a good formula going, and they really wanted to drop back and throw. I don't think Trevor had a bad game, but he had more of his incompletions than we've seen lately, where maybe he sails them or maybe he's a little inaccurate. He obviously had the 2 picks. Don't think that last one is anything to sneeze at either. Like Jacoby was blanketed. Brandon would say pass interference. I think it was good playoff defense. I think he did have Parker Washington. There's some screen grabs that show him pretty open behind Jacoby. Maybe he just didn't see him. Obviously, he didn't see him. But I thought overall for what Trevor Lawrence could have been in the playoffs and, just what that team, like what that game could have gone at its worst for Jacksonville, didn't happen. They did, for the most part, do what they had to do as far as protecting the ball. They should have ran the ball more, sure. I don't know. It could have been a lot worse for them. But the fact that they were up I think they were up at half, or was it tied at half? I can't remember. I think they were up most of the first half, then they get tied in the second half. I don't know. I feel like there
I
were
think
some
they were
games.
up 3.
Were they?
Yeah.
Were they? Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. They're going to be kicking themselves, but like Keenan said, you should be proud of the season they had. But it really did feel like, I think me and Tim were saying last
Bills
week.
are up 10-7 at half.
Okay, up 10-7. All right. It really did feel like whoever wins this game goes to the Super Bowl. And obviously we'll preview this weekend. We'll see if we feel that way. But I don't know. It's hard to say because you just never know what your window is in the NFL. And the AFC South looks a little more competitive than we expected with the Texans and with the Colts, and who knows what the Titans look like next year. So I agree with you. Like, part of me wants to say, like, yeah, great season, you will be back. But you just really never know. What if that was lightning in the bottle for them these last 7 games, how they played after that London game? So
it's not the NBA. NFL, every opportunity is a missed opportunity. I mean, the Lions are a great example. They get to the championship game. They lose a game they should probably have won the way they started. They haven't been back there since. They haven't won a playoff game since. Oh, wait, no, they've won 1 playoff game since.
And then Josh Allen. I mean, that's exactly why I had them in the heavyweight tier, man. They are built for these games. They are built for really any situation when you got a healthy Josh Allen. You can come back from behind. You feel safe with the lead. And if it's 50-50, you obviously feel safe with Josh Allen. And then, like Tim said, you get the game breaker tush push on 4th and season. You get them to the goal line. I agree, Keenan. I think I would have liked to have seen them like kneel on that first one, maybe take a half yard back, whatever, and then waste some time. Obviously, that's a risky game. Then you're playing, just goal line situation with 3 timeouts in 45 seconds. But I agree, you probably take your chances there with Josh Allen. So I was really interested to see them leave in a minute with 2 seconds.
As a Jags fan, what did you hope happened?
You're hoping exactly what they did.
Like if
what happened.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Which is why you do the opposite.
And they
like if you're rooting for the team and you're like, score first play, like literally keep a time. We have 102 and 1 timeout. Score.
Exactly.
Just let him go.
Exactly. Yeah.
If that's what you want, do the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that very well could have and probably should have went into overtime. And Again, that's why I hate
Yes.
that's why I hate this 35-yard touchback. I cannot stand that because you really only need with these good kickers with this K ball now, you really only need like a 15, 20-yard completion, and you're in field goal range for some of these guys. And that
Yeah.
takes some suspense away. Like that's part of the lore of the playoffs is getting the ball at the 20 on a touchback and seeing if your man can go
Mhm.
80 yards or do the damn thing, get you into field goal range. That's eliminated now. And luckily for the Bills, if you're a Bills fan, yeah, you force that turnover, but 9 times out of 10, if you're getting the ball at the 35, down 3 with a minute left, yeah, you should tie that game up and go into overtime. But props to the
With
Whole
Bills,
field's open to
oh,
you.
with the best kicker in NFL history. Like this
right?
man can damn near kick it 70 yards.
Exactly. Yeah, you only need
Yeah.
10 yards for him apparently
Yeah.
at this point. So
No, genuinely, they get to midfield. They're in legitimate field goal
They
range. They
get
get to
a
the.
first down. They're like right there.
If they had to kick it, they could kick it and feel okay. Like that's
fair to
insane.
point out, he missed one
But
before the half. From I
he
think
did.
50, but 47, 50, something like that.
Yeah.
So he missed what
It's
would be a
weird.
gimme.
He's weird. He's sometimes J.R. Smith, where like the incredibly tough ones he'll hit, and then sometimes can miss a layup or two. Like it seems like the 48. He's more apt to miss a 48 yarder than a 63 yarder, and it's really weird. But yeah, next game, 49ers and Eagles. What a game!
Interesting
What
game.
a game! A very interesting game. No, this is one of those games where you look and you're like, the Eagles offense, they need something. And it's to me, it's more so a play calling. I mean, AJ Brown dropped the big one, Devontae dropped the big one, but like you need a Mike McDaniel's the first call I'm making. Like I need something in there like that, and I think that'd be great for Mike McDaniel. You get there for a couple years and just go from there. But you need something because man, regardless of how you guys feel about how good or not good Jalen Hurts is, I mean, he is a Super Bowl champion. They're good enough to be better than that on offense with the talent they have. So, like, regardless if you can feel he's top 5, 10, 15, whatever, they're better. He is better and good enough to be better than that and what they were offensively, especially late game. And then for the
That's why they
49ers,
fired the
great
OC.
coaching job from Shanahan. Yeah, oh yeah, 100%. And then great job from Shanahan. I think that was you had to do everything you could to get into that position. I'm afraid for this week for them, but good luck. I mean, it's a division game, so you get a little bit more, a little confidence there. But yeah, but a great coaching game, great way to play, and Brock Purdy just showing that he is continuing to be a true star NFL quarterback, regardless through adversity.
Tim.
Yeah, I think the Eagles. I was texting the group chat, and on that last drive, I was like, "This drive so far hasn't been Jalen Hurts' fault up until the last pass. There were 2 drops on that drive that should have been clear first downs that they gotta have. They're expected to have. They're highly paid football players. Um, don't love that with the season on the line, you go to Dallas Goedert, of all people, but then again, his 2 wide receivers had just dropped passes before that, so maybe he didn't have that confidence like he normally does. Um, I don't remember who said it, but they ran 10 plays on their last drive, and 4 of them were plays that they already ran on that drive. So 8 plays were identical to each other, not just one play, but they were 4 plays ran twice, which is just disgusting from an offensive coordinator. That's what you come up with. Like I know they have their sheets labeled. His like 2-minute drill sheet is it only like 7 plays that he can like come up with like to possibly win a football game? That's sad. Kyle Shanahan is literally flipping to a different page and he's got the whole damn Denny's menu of plays that he can go to. That's really sad that that's how their season ended because they were actually in a position to score. Like they were driving down the field with those 2 drops. So the second half, I've been saying that all year. They haven't played like a full game of football, apart from like the Raiders game. But that's the Raiders, so it's whatever. Um, the same thing happened. They looked okay in the first half, and then the second half came, and they looked like they were a JV football team offensively. People were saying, why weren't they letting Saquon run more? In the second half, the 49ers were shutting him down pretty well. Like, they were hitting him at the line of scrimmage or behind it quite often. They were sniffing out the run game pretty good. So I actually don't mind them not going to Saquon so much. Sure, maybe let's get him involved. But there was that drop by Saquon that was a little out to the outside. He easily could have made a man miss and got him a first down, and they had to punt on that drive. So there were a lot of ways that this went wrong.
So predictable. It was
very, very predictable.
It's just. I mean, you can't be. You have the most 3 and outs.
Is it?
I mean, as this is what we know all year.
Is
but
it second
crazy.
and a dozen? They're probably going to run it up the middle with Saquon. Like, that's how predictable they are. That's really what they've done a lot, which does not work for a football team. I'll tell you that. 49ers, they can be better. Obviously, losing Kittle early really sucks for them. That kind of stalled their offense out for sure. But they started pulling out the tricks and getting stuff to work. So without Kittle, though, it's going to be hard going forward. They don't have an easy game. So
Juwan Jennings, a better quarterback than Burrow and Lamar. One of the craziest things you'll ever see is he was a higher ranked prospect at QB than Burrow and Lamar.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not.
He was a top 10 all over prospect coming out of high school. For all positions.
That's incredible.
No, he genuinely legitimately.
Belichick would have loved him.
I mean, he was rolling right and threw a dot to McCaffrey. It was arguably the best pass of the day.
He took a hit on that play too, so he stood into it. He knew that
genuinely could have been roughing the passer.
I was shocked they called that.
Genuine roughing the passer.
Shit. Listen, we talked about last week, like how the Niners would not be afraid at all to go into Philly and punch him in the mouth. And that's exactly what they did. I thought it was a brilliant game from Kyle Shanahan, a brilliant game from Robert Saleh. Once again, I'm kind of mad at myself, like not seeing that the basicness of this offense that we saw all season from the Eagles, just basic. All that talent, but very basic concepts, no imagination at all. I'm mad that I didn't think about like someone like Robert Saleh, even though it is a depleted defense, like could take advantage of that. And that's exactly what happened. He took advantage of their generic offensive approach. Kyle Shanahan tried to punch that defense in the mouth. That defense is legit. It's physical. It's tough to play, especially in Philly. And they just attacked them. They went right into the teeth of the defense, did what they had to do. And then Saleh and the defense took advantage of, again, a very pedestrian offense with a ton of talent. Keen, one of the most interesting parts of this game to me actually wasn't even on the field. It technically was, but Tom Brady called the game. And there was a play, I think, probably about a minute 15. I think Hurts gets sacked, and they're at about probably the 30-yard line in Niners territory. I think they had 2 timeouts. They had more than one for sure. And they were letting the clock run. And Tom Brady, I was shocked by this because I would not have played it this way. And obviously, Tom Brady knows a million more than anyone about football, right? A million times more about anything about football. And Hurts gets sacked, and Tom Brady says, yeah, no, the Eagles are fine here. Let the clock run. You're playing to your own advantage by, letting the clock run here and trying to put the pressure on the Niners. I would have called a timeout there, regrouped, and then you got a full minute to, all right, really find out how we're going to attack this because the play calling's already pedestrian. I did not think running the clock from a minute 15 down to 40 seconds to get your second down playoff. I did not think that was at any way advantageous for the Eagles. And for Tom Brady, of all people, to call that out rather than like a backup quarterback or a quarterback we know has clock management issues, I thought that was shocking. And maybe he's right. But man, with Tom Brady, sure, maybe you do that.
Are you talking last drive?
This is the last drive. I think this is literally the play.
Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure.
I think this is the play leading into the interception.
So I think what he's saying, and I guess with a good offensive operation, that this makes sense, is you are confident that you want this to be the last drive. You call a timeout there, and then you can, I guess and for Tom, that would make sense because Tom's obviously, we know how surgical he is. But I think that's in the sense of you want this to be the last drive and you don't want the 49ers to have even a remote chance to get the ball with 20, 30, whatever seconds left on the clock. So running it down to the point when you have the timeouts that you did would be.
Can I interject though?
Yeah,
I
sure.
agree if you have the ball at the 15 or the 10-yard line. They were like between the 40 and the 30. You still had a lot of yardage to get to even get to touchdown scoring position because they needed a touchdown. They need a field goal.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm just saying probably what his mindset was. And again, I don't think you're wrong because of what offense it was. I think with a better operation, you can be more confident.
I think you at least got to be like in the red zone for that to come to fruition. Like be pretty damn sure you're going to score. They're at this point, I think they're at the 35. I mean, I'd have to look back, but they were not. I mean, he threw the interception around the 15, 20. Am I correct? I'd have to look.
To my knowledge, yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Again, Tom Brady's probably right. But even as it was happening, I'm like, man, I think I would call a timeout there, regroup after the sack, and then really try to get the 7 here because you still got 35 yards to go.
Yeah. That could just be a difference in coaching philosophies. But go on to
if they called a timeout, then maybe they could have talked Kevin Patullo out of calling a garbage play.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe that's
exactly what I'm saying.
Again, I don't think you're wrong. I think sometimes Tom might still think he's playing quarterback, and maybe him and Josh McDaniels would be confident with 40 seconds left that they can get 40 yards.
Might have been he said, if I'm QB, this is exactly what I would do, which nobody is Tom. So
right, exactly.
The play is completely different. So
because I think the lead guy was like, I think he kind of questioned at first. He's like, would you take a timeout here? And then Tom Brady was kind of like, you've got him exactly where you want him. And I'm like, oh, Tom, man, I don't know if they do. I'm not sure the Phillies got him exactly where they want him at this point.
I think that's what the Niners were thinking. Is like, yeah, this is exactly where we want the Eagles in this situation, running out of time with Jalen Hurts at the helm.
Let's move forward. You got one more thing you want to say, Keith?
No, I was just going to say we can go from Tom Brady in the booth to Tom's old team. That was what I was going to say.
Yeah, let's breeze through these next two. Pats Chargers. I'll go quickly. It was an ugly game. It was the jail ball game we thought we were going to get from Pittsburgh Texans, and we still kind of did get it from Pittsburgh Texans, but it wasn't the score that we wanted. It was a good game. I mean, hey, Drake May looked like a rookie in the first half, or looked like he was a rookie playoff performer in the first half. Played a little better in the second half. I thought it was interesting, and you find this obviously on the internet, but the people who after the game were like, time to have a conversation about Herbert and Harbaugh. And I'm like, hey, man, they're down there starting tackles, left and right tackles. Like, I thought they did better than if it was going to go all the way bad, it went better than that, much better than that, even at 16-3, even though you didn't get a touchdown, even though he was under siege all day. Like, that could have looked like what it looked like on Monday night for the Steelers, and it didn't. They still kept it within 2 scores. Don't think the Chargers have anything to hang their hat on, and the Pats just continue to look well coached. Pats continue to look ahead of schedule. Needless to say, we got a great matchup with them and the Texans this coming Sunday. Can't wait. But yeah, as far as the Chargers go, I don't think if you're a Chargers fan, you have anything to really be worried about going forward. I don't think this game is at all indicative of their future. You were as banged up as possible, and your QB was banged up, and you still had your chances. You were still in this game damn near to the end. Ends up being a 2-score game. Could have been much worse.
To me, it was more, I wouldn't have any questions about Harbaugh. Herbert, Herbert missed some people by not throwing 2 people. There's some opportunities that he let go. I think if you have any questions, it's only Herbert questions. I mean, he hasn't been good in the playoffs yet. He played fine in the first half against the Jags. He was good then, and then since that moment, he hasn't had a good quarter yet. So that would be the only question. And I mean, even then, you're still confident that he's a franchise starting quarterback. It's just, how will he be able to perform in the playoffs? And some people do start off slow and they're able to pick it up. So not that you try to get rid of him or anything like that. And then on the Patriots side of things, only thing with Drake May that I need, I'm even fine with a few of the misses. It's just that if someone's grabbing at you the first time with a sack, it's okay to take a sack sometimes.
Mhm.
Like, I understand, like, it is okay to take a sack because the best thing to do is to protect the football. And there was a lot of times where it was that secondary, oh, guy's on my arm, let me try to get it out quick, and then it fumbled. A couple times we got it, a couple times we didn't get it. So I would just say, especially when you're going to have Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson screaming off the edge, if they're there, 2nd and 16 is better than them getting the ball at the 50. That's all I got to say. Other than that, I was very fine with his performance. Obviously, a little bit of jitters in the first half. I like the fact that he's going to hopefully uses his legs more. Throwing in the second half, he looked pretty pinpoint. So got that out of the way. It's going to be a fun game against the Texans. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I think coming out of the game, I was pretty quick to just be like, yeah, they were down their tackles. That was probably going to happen. But then looking back, there were definitely quite a few throws and mistakes that Herbert made that could have turned the tide. Missed an easy touchdown for Lad McConkey pretty early on in the game, and I can't. He didn't throw it. No, he did throw a touchdown last year, but his like stats in the playoffs are pretty bad. Getting those 2 tackles back does probably change the game. I showed up a little bit late to this game. What happened to Amari and Hampton? Was he just like not in the game?
So he got one
To be
snap.
honest, I never looked in.
He got one snap in the
Go.
second quarter. Vidal essentially started, even though people were expecting Hampton to start. He got one snap in the second quarter, handed it off, lost a yard, never saw him again.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him at all. And just to say, Herbert right now is a 54.7% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns to 4 picks with a 64 quarterback rating in the playoffs thus far in his career with 1 fumble lost. So I just wanted to say that because you said you weren't sure of his stats.
Yeah, I knew they weren't great because, like you said, he had that good half against the Jags, and then against the Texans last year was just a really rough game. But yeah, I was surprised not to see Amarian. If he was hurt or injured, like, why is he even on the roster? He should be on the IR and put somebody else in there because they literally just had Vidal the entire game, and he wasn't getting a whole lot done. But yeah, like the game was just really boring, just back and forth, boring. Even the touchdown wasn't very exciting. It was just like, okay, whatever, game's over. I really hope we get a better one because a lot of people say that the Texans game was also very boring. So now we have 2 of the boring game teams playing against each other. So unstoppable force, immovable object type deal.
Could be.
And did you have much you wanted to say on? Oh, you already talked about this game. My bad.
For sure.
So let's just slide into that Texans and Steelers game. That's the last game, the Monday night game. Is Aaron Rodgers' last throw going to be a pick 6? Maybe. We don't know. I don't think he'll be back as a week 1 starter next year. I do think at some point he might play football again.
I agree.
Especially with no Tomlin there. He would have to go to a whole new situation, and it would have to be like, I guess, again, we say the Falcons or like the Vikings, like a situation like that, but the Falcons have to be like Harbaugh as your coach. Like, you'd have to have an established team, established coach, and then they just insert quarterback, which I think is difficult to do. So I don't think he starts next year. I think he probably announces a retirement over the next month, but then he comes back and maybe plays there. I don't know if it's his last throw or not, but it's his last throw as a Steeler. Overall, the Texans, again, as I said, just barely talking about the Patriots, this defense is as scary as you can get because they can get home with 4 sticky coverage on the outside from a lot of their corners, and they have hard-hitting linebackers, and they tackle well. So it's going to be an interesting game, and we'll talk a little bit more about this here in a moment, but I do think the Patriots are going to be in a situation where they can win because offensively in that game, Drake was getting the ball hit from him. CJ just couldn't grab the ball. Like, for some reason, like, the ball just, it was like Butterfingers or something on the ball. Like, he just couldn't grab the ball. And it seems like as of late, he's been getting more, like, he's been like out of rhythm. And especially if there's no Nico, because it looks like Nico has a true concussion. Whereas, like, obviously you got Gonzalez in a concussion protocol. I think he actually will be back for the game. Nico, I don't know. Didn't feel like he was going to be back in a week the way he was off in the field in the cart. So, but yeah, this game was close, and I thought that the Steelers are going to pull it out late just by having a drive in this game, and then just didn't happen. Like, even when it was 10-6, I was like, Kyle had a score 12-10. I was like, that feels like it could happen. It feels start 12 to 13 to 10. So I still thought that Rodgers was going to have like one drive. And then, I mean, he iced out DK, which is crazy. Like, doing Rodgers things. But yeah, that was my thoughts.
Timmy.
That's been a real problem for the Steelers offense this year, where DK will be like playing good, and then they just won't target him for 2 quarters. Like, he'll be fine in the first.
That
first quarter.
That drop on that drive.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a bad drop, but like, I'm pretty sure that was his first. He didn't have a target in the third quarter. Like, it was like a long drought of not getting your highest paid player involved in the football game.
Yep.
So that's a problem. They need to like fix that going into the season next year. Yeah, this game was pretty boring. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm not penciling in 2 turnover touchdowns for any team. So I think this week's game is gonna be pretty boring as well. I think we pretty much get a defensive matchup between the Patriots. Like you said, Nico's probably not going to be there. So we've got one of the best defenses in the league and a good defense versus a mediocre offense and a good offense. Like, it's probably going to be a low scoring game. But yeah, I checked out of this one with like 7 minutes left to go in the game, because I was like, there's no coming back. They just don't. After the Woody Marks touchdown, I was like, that's where this game has ended. So yeah.
Yeah, I have 2 gripes with this game, and it's not really about the game itself. One, this is exactly why I said I was rooting for the Ravens in this game, because if everything doesn't go perfectly for the Steelers, that's the result you're going to get. I like Aaron Rodgers. I like Mike Tomlin. I even like when the Steelers are relevant. I think it's good for the NFL. Thank God we don't have to watch this team another week. This was easily the team. I've said this. This was the team I hated most to watch. And I think in preseason, I said it was the team I was most intrigued to watch. And they were just an awful watch week in and week out, especially on offense. You just never know what the hell you're getting from this team, not only from drive to drive, but from play to play. And again, good riddance that we don't have to see them. And I really wish, even if it was for 1 week, the Ravens would have put up a much better game and product on the field against the Texans in that game. And secondly, y'all hear me complain about stuff like this with the NFL a lot, man. I hate the Monday night game. I hate the Monday night playoff game. Give us 3 Saturday games, 3 Sunday games. There was no reason why, and they didn't, thankfully they didn't do this, but I think they did this last year with one of the Monday night teams. They put them on a Saturday, which is insane. This year they at least put the Texans on Sunday. And I thought, because it's Bills Broncos are on Saturday afternoon. So they kind of got the schedule right. I think Rams Bears, they play Sunday. They should be playing Saturday night.
They do.
They should be playing Saturday night because they both played Saturday. So they each get an extra day of rest getting that Sunday game. So it just seems like the NFL routine.
And the 49ers get at least one less day of rest, and they obviously are playing the number 1 seed, which are spent on a bye. So.
Yeah, for sure. They should at least flip those NFC games. And I don't know. It seems like the NFL routinely just gets what should be easy scheduling, or at least like considerate of teams that play kind of a wonky schedule. You would think they'd at least be considerate and be like, all right, we're not putting you on this day. Or, oh, these teams playing on Saturday, we could put them on Saturday again. No, we'll give them an extra day of rest and let them play on Sunday. So, yeah, those are my 2 gripes. Other than that, this game doesn't really have much to talk about, because we'll talk about the Texans more